You know what's exhausting? Being the nice girl. Always saying yes, always putting everyone else first, always being the one who smooths things over, plays small, and sacrifices her own needs to keep the peace. And what do you get in return? Resentment, frustration, feeling like people walk all over you. Listen to me. Being nice is not the same as being kind. Kindness is powerful, but being the nice girl, that's a trap. It keeps you invisible, it keeps you small, and it keeps you stuck. So today we're burning that identity to the ground. Today I'm giving you 7 rules to break free from the nice girl syndrome and finally start living for yourself. How many times a day do you say, I'm sorry, sorry to bother you, sorry I just have a quick question, sorry I didn't mean to take up space? Stop apologizing for existing. You are not put on this earth to be small and quiet. You are not a burden. You don't need permission to take up space, speak your mind, or ask for what you want. Yet somewhere along the way, you were taught that your voice should be softer, your presence should shrink, and your desires should come second. But that's a lie. It's a lie you've been conditioned to believe, and it's time to shatter that illusion right now. Look around. Watch how men move through the world. They don't apologize for existing. They don't say, I hate to ask, but. They don't lower their voices in meetings because they're afraid of sounding too assertive. They don't hesitate to negotiate salaries or demand promotions. They take up space. They assume they belong. And here's the truth. So do you. You deserve to be in that room. You deserve to have a seat at the table. And you deserve to speak your mind without prefacing it with an apology. Think about the last time you said, I'm sorry, when you didn't actually do anything wrong. Maybe you apologize for interrupting someone, even though it was your turn to speak. Maybe you apologize for needing help, even though that's a completely normal human need. Maybe you apologize for having emotions, as if feeling something deeply is a flaw instead of a strength. Let's flip the script. Instead of I'm sorry for bothering you, say thank you for your time. Instead of I hate to ask, say I have a question. Small shifts, big impact. The words you choose shape how people perceive you, but more importantly, they shape how you perceive yourself. Every unnecessary apology chips away at your confidence. Every time you diminish your own voice, you reinforce the belief that you are less important. That stops today. I know what you're thinking, but I don't want to come across as rude. Listen, confidence is not rudeness. Taking up space is not arrogance. Asking for what you need is not selfish. Being direct is not aggressive. Stop policing yourself because you're afraid of making other people uncomfortable. You are not responsible for how someone else reacts to your self-worth. There is a difference between being kind and being a doormat. There is a difference between being considerate and being invisible. You can be strong and still be compassionate. You can be confident and still be humble. The two are not mutually exclusive. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, pay attention to every time you say, I'm sorry. Catch yourself. Reframe it. If it's not truly an apology for a mistake you've made, change the wording. If you bump into someone, say, excuse me. If you're running late, say, thank you for waiting. If you need help, say, I appreciate your support. Do this for a day and you'll start to notice something. You'll feel more in control, more powerful, more like the person you were always meant to be. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to be small. You are here to take up space, to use your voice, and to live unapologetically. The world doesn't need another person holding back their greatness out of fear. The world needs you. So stand up, speak up, and stop apologizing for existing. Nice girls say yes to everything. Strong women say no without guilt. I know this because I've seen it firsthand. I once had a friend who said yes to everything. She covered extra shifts at work when she was already drowning in responsibilities. She babysat for free even when her bank account was in the red. She lent money she didn't have because she thought saying no made her a bad person. She was the one who always answered the late night calls, always showed up when someone needed help, always sacrificed her own peace to make someone else's life easier. And you know what happened? One day she ended up in the hospital. Her body literally forced her to stop. The stress, the exhaustion, the resentment that had been quietly building up, it all came crashing down. Lying there in that hospital bed, she realized something so simple yet so powerful. She had been giving pieces of herself away for years, and there was almost nothing left. And maybe you're feeling that right now. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you've been saying yes to things that you don't want to do. Maybe you feel like you can't say no because you don't want to let people down. But here's the truth. When you constantly put everyone else first, you are teaching them that you come last. And that has to stop. Repeat after me. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to offer some long-winded excuse so people don't get upset. No is enough. But what about the guilt? What about the fear of disappointing people? Let me ask you this. Why are you more afraid of disappointing them than you are of disappointing yourself? Why is their comfort more important than your well-being? The people who truly love and respect you will understand. And the ones who don't, they were only benefiting from your lack of boundaries. Let them go. I get it. It feels scary. Setting boundaries means stepping into a new version of yourself. It means showing up differently. It means being willing to sit with the discomfort of change. But let me tell you something. On the other side of that discomfort is freedom, peace, strength. When you finally start saying no to things that drain you, you create space for things that light you up. When you stop overextending yourself, you get your energy back, your joy, your time. Think about the strongest people you admire. Do they say yes to everything? Do they allow themselves to be walked all over? No. They stand firm. They protect their time. They know their worth. And that is exactly what you are going to start doing. Here's how you do it. The next time someone asks you for something that doesn't align with your needs, take a breath, pause. Instead of your automatic yes, try this. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I commit to that. Or simply, no, that won't work for me, and then stop talking. Because the second you start explaining, you are opening the door for negotiation. You don't need to justify protecting yourself. Will some people get upset? Maybe. Will some relationships shift? Probably. But the people who truly belong in your life will adjust. And you will start to feel lighter, more powerful, more in control of your own life. So let this be your wake-up call. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Stop putting yourself last. Stop living for everyone else while you slowly fade into exhaustion. It's time to reclaim your energy, your time, your self-respect. It's time to stand in your power. And it all starts with one word, no. How many times have you sat on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect moment? How many dreams have you let slip through your fingers because you were waiting for someone to give you the green light? Think back to all the times you had an idea, a spark, a vision of something incredible, but you hesitated. You looked around, hoping someone would validate it, someone would tell you, yes, go for it. But no one did, and so you let it fade. Here's the truth. No one is coming. No one is going to give you permission. Not your boss, not your parents, not your friends, not society. If you keep waiting for someone to tell you that you are good enough, smart enough, talented enough, ready enough, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. It's easy to believe that someone else holds the key to your success. That if you just prove yourself, if you just follow the rules, if you just wait your turn, someone will finally notice you and hand you the life you've been dreaming of. But that's not how it works. The people who get what they want in life don't wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. They decide. They step forward. They take what's theirs, not because it was handed to them, but because they refuse to sit on the sidelines any longer. Look at Oprah. She wasn't born into privilege. She wasn't handed a talk show on a silver platter. She didn't wait for someone to say, hey, Oprah, you're ready now. No, she saw a space, she fought for it, she proved herself, and she took it. She didn't wait for someone to tell her she was good enough. She decided she was. And because of that, she changed the world. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I don't have the experience. What if I fail? What if people judge me? Guess what? You will fail. People will judge you. You will mess up, and it will be uncomfortable. But that's part of the process. Every single person who has ever achieved something great had to start before they were ready. They had to step into discomfort. They had to push past fear, and they had to stop waiting for permission. The difference between people who make things happen and people who sit back and watch? Action. The ones who succeed are the ones who get up every day and move forward, even when it's hard, even when they're scared, even when they don't feel ready. They take the leap before they see the net. You don't need anyone's permission to start. You don't need a title, a degree, or an official stamp of approval. You don't need someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, now is your time. Your time is whenever you decide it is. The moment you stop waiting is the moment you take control of your life. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't wait until they have a certificate in walking before they try. They stand up, they wobble, they fall, and they get back up again. They don't ask for permission to learn. They just do it. And that's exactly how you grow, how you evolve, how you achieve anything in life. Right now, there's something you want, a career move, a business idea, a personal goal, something you keep thinking about but never act on. Maybe you've convinced yourself you need more time, more preparation, more validation from the world. But deep down, you already know what you need to do. You just haven't given yourself permission to do it yet. So today, I'm challenging you. Stop waiting. Stop seeking approval. Stop playing small. The world doesn't need another person sitting on the sidelines, wishing things were different. The world needs you to step up. The world needs you to act. Whatever it is that's been sitting in your heart, whatever dream you've been putting off, whatever goal you've been waiting for the right moment to pursue, go after it. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now, the only permission you ever needed was your own. If you don't ask for what you want, don't expect to get it. Too many people walk through life accepting what's handed to them, believing that's all they're worth, or worse, fearing that speaking up might rock the boat. But let me tell you something. The boat only moves when you start rowing. If you don't demand what you deserve, you will forever be at the mercy of what others decide to give you. You want a raise? Ask for it. You want respect? Demand it. You want a relationship that makes you feel valued? Stop settling. You are not here to play small. You are not here to tiptoe around your own potential, afraid of making others uncomfortable. There is power in standing up and saying, this is what I want, and I will not accept less. I once worked with a woman who discovered that her male coworker who held the exact same position as her was making $20,000 more a year. $20,000 more. And do you know what her first instinct was? To stay quiet. To tell herself that maybe he had more experience, maybe he had negotiated better when he was hired, maybe it wasn't her place to question. How often do we do this? We justify injustice. We silence ourselves before anyone else even gets the chance to. We convince ourselves that demanding fairness might make us seem greedy, difficult, or ungrateful. But let me ask you this. What's more difficult? Having one uncomfortable conversation or living every single day knowing you are undervalued and underappreciated? That woman, she almost stayed silent. Almost. But then she did something powerful. She walked into her boss's office, looked him straight in the eye, and said, "This needs to change." And you know what happened? It changed. What would have happened if she had never asked? If she had stayed silent? If she had kept shrinking herself into a space too small for her potential? She would have continued working just as hard, giving just as much, but for a fraction of what she was worth. This isn't just about money. This is about self-worth. This is about recognizing that you are not an afterthought, that your needs, your ambitions, your goals, they matter. And when you don't speak up, when you don't claim what's rightfully yours, you are not just letting yourself down, you are teaching the world how to treat you. Think about the areas in your life where you've settled, where you've let someone else's decision determine your worth. Maybe it's in your career where you've hesitated to ask for that promotion, fearing you might not be ready. Maybe it's in your relationships where you've accepted breadcrumbs instead of the whole damn feast. Maybe it's in your daily interactions where you let people talk over you, dismiss your ideas, or take advantage of your kindness. And let's be clear, demanding what you deserve is not about entitlement. It's not about arrogance. It's about knowing your value and refusing to apologize for it. It's about making sure that the way you are treated reflects the effort, dedication, and heart you put into everything you do. Some of you might be thinking, but what if they say no? What if I ask and I get rejected? Well, let me flip that question on its head. What if they say yes? What if the thing you want, the thing you need, is just one conversation away? You will never know unless you ask. And even if they do say no, at least you've made it clear that you know your worth. At least you've shown up for yourself. And let's talk about the ripple effect, because when you stand up and demand what you deserve, you are not just changing your own life. You are setting a new standard for everyone around you. You are showing your children, your coworkers, your friends that it's okay to expect more, to want more, to ask for more. You are giving them permission to do the same. This is how change happens. This is how industries shift, how pay gaps close, how respect is earned. It starts with one person saying, I will not settle. It starts with you. So, I challenge you. What's one thing you've been holding back on? One thing you know in your gut you deserve, but have been too afraid to ask for. Maybe it's a raise. Maybe it's the respect of someone who's been dismissing you. Maybe it's a relationship that truly values you. Whatever it is, make the decision today, right now, that you will not stay silent, that you will step up, speak out, and claim what is yours. Because the world does not give to those who wait. It gives to those who demand what they deserve. Nice girls are taught to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, to make everyone happy. We are conditioned from a young age to believe that our worth is measured by how well we serve others, by how much we accommodate, by how agreeable we can be. We are taught that being liked is more important than being authentic, and so we shrink ourselves. We mold our words to fit what others want to hear. We silence our truth to make space for someone else's comfort. People-pleasing isn't kindness, it's self-betrayal. And the cost of this betrayal is far higher than we realize. Every time you say yes when your entire being is screaming no, every time you force a smile when you feel like breaking down, every time you swallow your words so you don't make waves, you are sending a message to yourself. My needs don't matter. My feelings don't matter. Who I am doesn't matter. But let's get honest. Who is really benefiting from your people-pleasing? Is it the friend who only calls when they need something? Is it the colleague who piles extra work on you because they know you won't refuse? Is it the partner who expects you to dim your light so they can shine brighter? The truth is, when you live to make others happy at the expense of your own well-being, you don't truly help anyone. You enable their expectations. You reinforce their belief that your time, energy, and emotional labor are theirs to take. And worst of all, you teach them that you will always put yourself last. The need to please is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as difficult. But here's the thing about fear. It's a liar. It whispers that if you set a boundary, you'll lose love. It tells you that if you speak up, people will turn away. But the truth is, the people who truly care about you, the ones who genuinely respect and love you, won't walk away because you decide to honor yourself. The people who leave, they were only there for what you could give them, not for who you truly are. So let me ask you, when was the last time you put yourself first? Not in a selfish way, not in a way that disregards others, but in a way that honors your needs, your desires, your well-being. When was the last time you made a decision that was solely for you without worrying about who might disapprove? Because here's the truth, you are not responsible for how others feel about you. You are responsible for how you feel about yourself. You are responsible for creating a life that feels good to you, not one that looks good to everyone else. You are responsible for protecting your energy, for setting boundaries, for saying no without guilt and yes without obligation. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up and know that every choice you make is aligned with who you truly are. Imagine what it would feel like to walk into a room and not shapeshift to fit the expectations of those around you. Imagine the freedom of living unapologetically, of knowing that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's approval. The first step to breaking free from the cycle of people-pleasing is recognizing that you are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to prove your worth through sacrifice. You don't need to earn love through compliance. You don't need to make yourself small so others feel big. You are enough simply by being. And I know it's not easy. When you start setting boundaries, people will resist. When you stop overextending yourself, some may call you selfish. When you stop saying yes out of obligation, you may disappoint a few. But let me tell you this, disappointing others will never be as painful as disappointing yourself. You will lose people. But the people you lose by choosing yourself were never meant to stay. And the people who truly belong in your life, they will celebrate your growth. They will honor your boundaries. They will love you for the person you are, not the version of yourself you contort to keep them comfortable. You were not put on this earth to make everyone else happy. You were not born to be agreeable, to be easy, to be convenient. You were born to be whole, to be powerful, to be real. And real is not always comfortable for others, but that is not your burden to carry. Your only responsibility is to be true to yourself. So stop saying yes when you mean no. Stop apologizing for existing. Stop bending yourself into versions that don't feel right just to make others feel okay. Stop carrying the weight of expectations that were never yours to bear. Start choosing you. Because the moment you decide that your needs matter, that your voice matters, that your truth matters, everything changes. You will no longer be at the mercy of the opinions of those who never truly saw you. You will no longer be bound by the fear of losing people who never really valued you. You will stand taller, speak louder, live freer, and that is a life worth living. Have you ever been in a room where your mind was on fire with an idea, a perspective, a solution, something that could change the course of the conversation, the project, maybe even someone's life, but you didn't say a word? That moment where your heart pounds because you know what you have to say is important, but the fear grips you, whispering that you might sound foolish, that you might be wrong, that someone else surely knows better. I have. I've sat in silence when I knew I shouldn't have. I've swallowed my words when they were begging to come out, and every single time I walked away with regret. But let me tell you something that changed everything for me. The people who speak up aren't always the smartest in the room. They aren't the most educated, the most experienced, or even the most qualified. They are simply the ones who refuse to let fear win. They are the ones who decide that their voice matters, that their perspective is worth sharing, and that staying silent is far more painful than risking discomfort. So let's get one thing straight right now. The world does not reward silence. The world does not hand out trophies to the ones who keep their brilliance locked inside their minds. No one ever built a legacy, sparked a revolution, or changed a single thing by staying quiet when they had something to say. Every movement, every breakthrough, every moment of progress was created by someone who decided to raise their voice. Someone who spoke even when their hands shook, even when their stomach churned, even when they were scared out of their mind. So why don't we? Why do we silence ourselves? Because we've been conditioned to believe that speaking up comes with consequences, that we'll be judged, that we'll be dismissed, that we'll say the wrong thing. Maybe we've been shut down before and the sting of that rejection still lingers. Maybe we were taught to only speak when spoken to not rock the boat, to avoid confrontation. Maybe we've convinced ourselves that our words don't hold weight, that our ideas don't matter, that someone else will say it if it's really that important. But let me tell you the truth. Those beliefs are lies. The people who make an impact, the ones who create real change, are the ones who push past those lies. They feel the fear and speak anyway. They challenge the doubts and share their thoughts anyway. They understand that discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts forever. And here's something else you need to hear. Your voice is your power. Your voice has the ability to shift perspectives, to inspire action, to create opportunities, not just for yourself, but for others. Every time you speak up, you give permission to someone else to do the same. You create a ripple effect of courage. You become the example that someone else needs to see. So let me ask you something. What are you holding back? What idea, what truth, what message have you been keeping locked inside because you're afraid of what might happen if you let it out? Because here's the reality. You will never be 100% ready. There will never be a perfect moment where all the fear disappears and everything aligns just right. If you wait for that moment, you'll be waiting forever. You have to decide to go for it anyway. You have to choose to speak even when your voice shakes, even when your palms sweat, even when your heart races, because the world needs you. The world needs your ideas. The world needs your truth. So stop playing small. Stop waiting for permission. Stop letting fear dictate your voice. Your words could be the ones that change the conversation. Your voice could be the one that sparks the next big movement. Your truth could be the exact thing that someone else desperately needs to hear. So speak. Speak when it's uncomfortable. Speak when it's terrifying. Speak when it feels like your whole body is screaming at you to stay silent, because the world needs you now more than ever. You are not here to sit on the sidelines of your own life. You are not a supporting character in someone else's movie. You are the main event, the headliner, the director, the producer. And yet, for too long, you have been waiting for permission to step into your power, waiting for someone to see your potential, to give you an opportunity, to validate your worth. But here's the truth. No one is coming to do that for you. No one is coming to save you, to choose you, to make the decision for you. Because you choose you. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. Think about it. When did you first start believing that you needed permission to be yourself? When did you decide that your dreams were too big, too unrealistic, too much? Was it when someone told you to lower your expectations? Was it when you were criticized for being too loud or too ambitious? Or was it the moment you felt rejection, failure, or judgment and decided that maybe they were right, maybe you weren't enough? Well, I'm here to tell you they were wrong. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. The world does not need another watered-down version of you. It does not need you to shrink yourself, to blend into the background, to dim your light so that others feel comfortable. The world needs the fullest, boldest, most alive version of you. Stand tall, take up space, own your voice. Because the minute you stop trying to be liked and start living as your unapologetic self, everything shifts. You will lose people. That's a fact. There will be those who are intimidated by your confidence, those who wish you would stay in the box they built for you, and it will be tempting to shrink again, to make yourself smaller so that you don't make others uncomfortable. But I need you to hear this loud and clear. The people who truly belong in your life will never ask you to be less than who you are. The ones who matter will celebrate you, not tolerate you. You have spent too much time trying to fit in, trying to be what you thought others wanted you to be. But deep down, you know you were not made for that. You were made to stand out. You were made to lead. You were made to break the mold, to carve your own path, to be the kind of person who inspires others to do the same. So what does that look like in real life? It means speaking up when you have something to say. It means setting boundaries and sticking to them. It means walking away from people who drain you, from situations that no longer serve you, from anything that makes you feel like you have to be less than who you are. It means believing in yourself before anyone else does. Because let me tell you something, you can't wait for confidence to show up before you take action. Confidence is built in the doing. You don't become fearless by sitting on the couch thinking about being fearless. You become fearless by taking action despite the fear. You don't wait to feel powerful before you own your power. You claim it, you step into it, and you act from it. Every time you silence yourself, you reinforce the belief that your voice doesn't matter. Every time you shrink, you teach yourself that it is safer to play small. And every time you let fear make your decisions, you let it win. But today is the day you stop that cycle. Today is the day you decide that you are worthy, that your dreams are valid, that your voice deserves to be heard. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. No one else is going to do this for you. No one is going to hand you permission. No one is coming with a magic wand to make you believe in yourself. That is your job. And I promise you this, the second you choose yourself, you will see the world respond in kind. Doors will open, opportunities will come, the right people will show up, not because they suddenly decided to value you, but because you did. Because you finally started acting like the person you were always meant to be. So stand tall, speak up, be bold, take up space. Own your power because no one else will do it for you and no one else can do it like you. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, pick one of these 7 rules and apply it. Maybe you set a boundary. Maybe you ask for what you deserve. Maybe you stop apologizing for things that don't need an apology. Small changes lead to massive transformation, and when you finally break free from the nice girl trap, you won't just change your life, you'll change the world.